Hello YouTube, Shintigercurl here. That dude the straw hat bringing you yet another awesome video. It's Monday night. You know what that means? Time for some Raw. Last week, Triple H, or Fleet Admiral Triple H, unleashed the Buster call on Roman Reigns to thunderous applause. And now, we still have 5 more weeks left for WrestleMania. How are we going to build up the show? I got my notes. Let's get started. The Admiral, of course, comes out talking about authority, about how he has all the authority while everyone else has none, and that he showed his authority by beating the ever-loving crap out of one Roman Reigns last week, who required surgery to fix his broken fucking nose. Yay. Anyway, he is interrupted by WWE's resident mutant, the Titty Master, Dean Ambrose, who says that he wants to deliver a message to Trips from his buddy Roman that he will be back for his title match at WrestleMania. And now, but who will be the champion at WrestleMania? As Dean decides to say he wants to challenge Triple H. Trips, of course, calls him out, saying that he doesn't deserve a title match, but Dean says that Triple H is just scared, that he's afraid that he can't beat Dean Ambrose. So he will take his title match under advisement. But tonight he is in the main event against Alberto Rio with the League of Nations surrounding ringside. Yes. Our first matchup: Sasha Banks, my wife, takes on Becky Lynch to determine who will face the WWE Divas Champion Charlotte at WrestleMania. This is already a great matchup. These two have so much time together in the ring. It was an awesome match. Fantastic back and forth battling between the two of them, trading moves back and forth. This shows you why I love these two, but Sasha a little bit more because she's my wife. We have an interesting ending in that Sasha goes for a sunset flip off the top rope, which somehow causes both of them to pin each other, getting a 1, 2, 3, a double pin. So they both win, but there is no winner. Later on, Charlotte says that the two of them will have another shot for this. They have another match to determine who really is the #1 contender for her title. But yeah, that comes later. Next up, we have Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz. If you took a piss break or decided to make a sandwich, you would miss this one because this was a very, very short matchup with The Miz picking up a surprise victory with a roll-up. Okay. Next up, Sexy Power Stephanie McMahon comes out. Saltier than Sanford Kelly after losing to Rico Suave. You FGC fans will know what the hell I'm talking about. I couldn't catch all of it because I was on the phone taking care of some business. If you follow me on Twitter and Tumblr, you would know what that business was. But from what I've heard, she was very, very salty. Yeah. Next match. The Lucha Dragons take on, who is it? Rusev and I believe Sheamus of the League of Nations. Fantastic matchup. These two teams are still looking as strong as ever, but in the end, the League of Nations continue to dominate. Surprisingly, it surprises me. Before this team, when Sheamus lost the belt, I expected this team to be relegated to the side and just be nothing and just go on a consistent losing streak. But they have consistently shown that they are a powerful group, even though Wade Barrett will be leaving the company in a couple of months in a couple of months when his contract is up, which is a shame. But I love the League of Nations. They are really showing themselves to be a dominant tag team or a dominant team in the WWE. I like them. Next up, another shorty but a goodie: Ryback versus Adam Rose of the Social Outcast. They did something that I didn't think was possible. They made Ryback interesting. What did they do? First off, they pretty much embraced the parallels made between him and Goldberg. I don't think he's doing any more of that feed me more crap. He's coming out dressed like Goldberg. He's varying up his moveset. And in this match, he just beat the shit out of Adam Rose. I'm serious. He just beat the piss out of him. He did. After he did that, he just rolled out of the ring and walked out. This is how they should have been booking him in the first place. Doesn't say nothing. Promos are short to the point. Comes in, beats the shit out of people, leaves. In fact, this is how they should have been booking Roman Reigns to begin with. Not trying to make him Rock 2.0. Look how that's turning out. Next up, tag team match. The New Day versus the new team of AJ Styles and Y2J, christened Y2AJ. Another fun, fantastic match. Both of these teams have very good chemistry together. Even though AJ and Y2J haven't been tagging for more than a week, they still show some great chemistry. Kofi tries to go for the Trouble in Paradise, but gets put in the walls of Jericho, taps out, Y2AJ wins. AJ gets on the mic and says that because they beat them, that makes them the #1 tag team in the running for a World Tag Team title match. And so, next week on Raw, New Day, Y2AJ, WWE Tag Team titles on the line. Big time match. Next up, Vince McMahon comes out, boasting about how he plans on humiliating his son with his instrument of destruction, The Undertaker. The Undertaker comes out, as the only way The Undertaker could, with all the smoke, the lightning, the gongs. The gongs! And before Vince can even get a word off, he puts him in a goozle, Undertaker does, and says, everything that happens to your son, when I close that cage in 5 weeks, all the blood that he's going to spill, it's going to be on your hands. I'm doing it, but it's your fault. I hope you can live with yourself. And he walks away. Vince gets back on the mic after drinking some water because he got goozled by the Taker. Says that when his son loses, he will not only lose his stake in the company, he will lose the McMahon name and his inheritance, all of it going to Stephanie. And he says, and I quote, that the next time I see him, I will denounce him as my son, and when I do see him after that match, he will simply be, the only son he will be is of a bitch. Next up, Jey Uso versus Bubba Ray Dudley, singles match. This wasn't much of a match to write home about. This is just to build up the rivalry between the Usos and the Dudleys. The Dudleys, of course, stating that they'll never use tables again until Devon breaks out a table and hits Jimmy on the outside with it, and Bubba hits the Bubba Bomb on Jay, winning in the match. Builds up the feud nicely. Next up, Kevin Owens versus The Big Show. This is what you'd expected. It was pretty much a reverse of what happened on Thursday night when Kevin Owens won his match by countout. The Big Show won his match by countout as well. Next up, Brie Bella versus Naomi of Team Bad. Backstage, she had an encounter with Lana, who makes comparisons between her future husband Rusev and Brie's husband, the now retired Daniel Bryan, talking about how your husband is a cripple. Mine is all man. Yours cannot provide for you. Mine gives me everything I want. And Brie cuts on her, saying that if she actually wrestled a match, she'd actually believe her. And she also suggested to save Rusev's back. Yeah. So we segue into this segues to our next match, Brie versus Naomi, like I mentioned. This was actually a pretty good match. It got the time it needed to tell a very interesting story. There was some psychology involved. Brie's kicks still look bad, but nothing as compared to whatever that is that Naomi does. Good side, no rear view. Yay! So the match ends when Naomi puts her into something that looks akin to the Saturn's rings done by Perry Saturn. I don't know what to call this particular submission. I've never seen it before, but it looks pretty good. Better than as a finisher than the rear view. Ugh. So anyway, she puts her in the submission hold. Brie taps out. Naomi wins. And then Lana comes out to gloat as only Lana can. Beautifully. And also tonight, we also, Rolling Stone magazine broke it, WWE.com confirmed it. So tonight, officially, the next members of the 2016 class for the Hall of Fame this year, the Fabulous Freebirds. Yeah. They were before my time when I started watching wrestling, but their impact in the industry is beyond reproach. I mean, they actually have a rule, a tag team rule named after them, the Freebird rule, in which any team that has 3 or more members, any members of that particular team can defend those belts. The New Day have used this rule to great advantage over the years, and of course the Freebirds also had that legendary feud with the Von Erich family back in the late 70s and early 80s. So it's only right that they be inducted in the Hall of Fame in Dallas, Texas, seeing as how some of their more memorable matches with the Von Erichs were in Texas. So, yay. Main event time. Dean Pool Ambrose versus Alberto Del Rio. Now, by this point, Dean is looking pretty ragged. I mean, he's been wrestling back to back a long time. I mean, he took a significant beating from Brock 2 nights in a row last week, and now he's facing off against Alberto Del Rio. This was a brutal match to watch, mostly because of how well Dean sells being injured and sells himself as this guy who just doesn't have it in him to stay down, who just keeps coming and coming and coming and coming, because he is a fucking mutant. He takes some hellacious beatings. He even takes that double stomp that Alberto Del Rio does on the outside. You've seen it before. Almost gets counted out. He fights back and even manages to take out all the members of the League of Nations temporarily until Fleet Admiral Triple H decides to call in another Buster call on Ambrose. And Dean gets the ever-loving shit beaten out of him by the League of Nations. Trips gets on the mic and says that he just doesn't understand that he can't win against the Authority. Dean takes one last swipe and eats a pedigree, which Fleet Admiral Trips says, "You want a title match? You got it." And then Dean could have just let this go, but no, he wouldn't be Dean Ambrose without getting one last shot in, and he crawls the mic, barely able to stand, and he just says, "Hey, Hunter, thanks." Then Trips snaps and proceeds to unleash another Buster call on Dean Ambrose, beating him within an inch of his life and throwing Byron Saxton a good couple of feet for his trouble. That should be in a new Olympic event. Byron Saxton throwing. So, anyway, Dean is left unmoved, but you know he's going to be back because he's Dean fucking Ambrose. So that's Raw. My thoughts? As far as building up for WrestleMania, this does pretty good. The whole question of who will face Charlotte for the WWE Divas title is put into question with that double count out. The feud between the Dudley Boys and the Usos continues to gain steam. We see Y2AJ get a title shot against the New Day. And Dean Ambrose continues to show why he should be the man there that the WWE is pushing instead of Roman Reigns, because he is just over with the crowd. This is why he is over, because he just doesn't stop. It doesn't matter who it is. He will take them on full bore with no reservations about what you do to him. He will keep coming and coming and coming and coming. He ain't dead yet. So he's just gonna just have Renee Young pull out her titties and he'll be up right as rain in a couple of days. He should be right as rain right now, so there's that. So I hope that Hunter drops the belt to Dean so we can at least say that all the members of the Shield were world champions. But we know he's just a placeholder for Roman when he comes back at Mania, so that's all you can hope for. But yeah, that's my video. Like what you see? Link, comment, subscribe below. Got any questions, comments, or just want to talk about this amazing episode of Raw? Well, not amazing episode as far as I just want to talk about your favorite moments of Raw. Leave below. I'll get back to you. You already know how to support the channel. And pretty much I really need the support of the channel because I have things going on with my book and I'm going to need some more monetary gains in order to make my book get off the ground. I'm self-publishing now, so that's going to take a tremendous lot of money. So this is another reason why I do this, because I have a dream to see my book come to fruition, and I will see it get through, even if I have to scrape and save as much money as I can. But also, follow me on Twitter, #CaptainLuffy, for obvious reasons. So until next time, this has been Shintigercurl, that dude with the straw hat, saying good night, and Dean is just going to keep coming. And coming, and coming, I'm coming, I'm coming, I'm